Well, good evening, folks, and welcome back to the farm. She's a chilly one today, as you can tell. As you can probably also tell, daylight got away on me. Yeah, I'm out here. It's well after dark now. It's about 9:30 at night. Got my headlamp on, and I'm just out with the pitchfork, feeding hay to the lambs and the ewes. And I also got to run a straw bale out to the bulls because we got 8 inches of snow, probably closer to 9 inches of snow in about 24 hours, which was a lot. Although it was a lot to deal with, and so that's why I've got a t-shirt, a sweater, a jacket, and then my big coat. I'm a pretty fair weather guy. In fact, I've been in Canada now for 21 years, but I still really haven't got accustomed to just how cold it gets. It was April 14th, 2000. I got off a plane in Calgary, and it was minus 25, and it was blizzarding. And I just coming off the plane, just full of hope and wonderment, and thinking about my future as a young man, and just getting off the plane and being like, what am I doing with my life? Like, this was not in the brochure. Anyway, speaking of not in the brochure, all this fork feeding of the hay, is something that I kind of had an idea that it was going to be a pain in the backside. Because we've split our flocks. We've got 2 distinct breeding flocks, plus we've got the lambs that are not quite ready. They got some that are not ready for breeding, some that are not ready for market. All those young lambs, they're in one distinct flock by themselves, and the 2 breeding flocks are in here behind the shop. And so each of them requires feeding. And then there's also horses that require feeding. So there's an awful lot of pitchfork work needs to be done around here, which we're only a few days into this snow business, and it's already getting kind of old. And in years past, it's been pretty easy. We just set up some panels, or we just set up a feeder. With the horses, we just had a big hay net, and for the most part, it's just kind of set it and forget it. But this year, we just really can't afford to do that. Not money-wise, it's just the feed availability. You really got to be conscientious about reducing waste, and so that's why we're forking everything. So I got all the hay forked over, and I'm now sitting with the tractor waiting for the battery to charge. This doggone battery it's like dead every day. I need to replace the battery. It's a known problem with these old AGCO Alice tractors. For some reason, they have battery issues. There is actually an isolation switch even in line to shut the power off, and still somehow, I don't know if it's witchcraft or magnets or what it is, but the batteries always seem to die in this tractor. It doesn't matter how new it is, how much you charge it. Every day you come, battery's dead. It just is what it is. So the battery charger has just become part of our regular routine, I guess. Anyways, while I wait, what happened today? So I was talking to a colleague today at work about some world events, I guess. And he said, well, what's happening in BC? Well, so if you don't know what happened in BC, I mean, they had 200 millimeters of rainfall in 24 hours, or thereabouts. 200 millimeters, for the folks that don't do metric, is just shy of 8 inches of rain in a day. And as you can imagine, it just turns solid ground to Jello pudding, like instantly. Just everything is soup. And massive mudslides, folks trapped, folks missing, vehicles washed off the road, absolutely tragic, and in a legitimate state of emergency. And why the Canadian military hasn't been moved in there, to do some repairs and to do some engineering work to get access to some of these communities and the folks that are trapped, is why they haven't been activated is beyond me. That's a conversation, a bit different conversation, but it's one thing that really makes me wonder. And the other thing that really makes me wonder is, you look at the grocery stores surrounding those communities, and in less than a day, those grocery stores were empty. Right, and that's not necessarily reflective of the people that live there and the panic buying and things like that. I can overlook that, because people generally are scared and unpredictable, and when they do that, they react accordingly, and that usually results in panic buying whatever you can get. Let's empty the shelves, because most people just aren't prepared for any type of event let alone an extended period of time kind of event, right? And so we also got talking about, I guess, supply chain management and how that looks in the world right now. And the ship that got stuck in a canal months ago, I mean, I think for a lot of people that was like, oh man, like our supply chain could be severely compromised by an event like this. What that really should have been is a wake-up call to say our supply chains are already compromised. An event like this has global ramifications, right? This didn't just affect whether, Aunt Jenny got her package. This had global impact. A single ship blocking something for not very long, couple weeks, global impact. The world has not recovered since then. Supply chains are still lagging and behind. It's not trickle-down effect from that event. It's because the system was broken prior to that event. And so this colleague of mine was saying, well, you seem like you got your head screwed on. Like, I've got a few pennies saved up aside, and just wondering, like, what should a guy do with it? Like, where do you think the world is headed right now? And my honest advice is you need to not buy things, right? Don't buy material things. Don't buy things that are going to give you short-term happiness. There's still people out there trying to buy pickup trucks and snowmobiles and toys and inconsequential material things. And reality is we should be looking to acquire things that can't be taken away from us, or like land, right? Don't get ourselves into a position where we're upside down on lending. We want to definitely be on equity positive, I guess, right? We want to have more than what can be taken away from us. We want to own more than we owe. So if you can get yourself into a position where if you have a few nickels to rub together, you can get yourself a piece of land, not owe your life savings to the bank in order to do that sell your soul kind of situation. But get yourself in a position where you're secured on a piece of land, where it's deeded, titled, like it's yours. And, I'm not saying go fully off grid, but you definitely should be prepared, right? Be prepared for the ability for the power grid to fail or be taken out. Same with water supply, be able to be self-sufficient with water. And it's a lost art. It's a lost art, but growing food, it seems such a simple thing. And to me, I mean, honestly, raising pigs in our backyard is easier than raising kids. You don't even have to teach those pigs letters or numbers or anything like that. You just got to keep them fed. And in 6 months, you can put them in the freezer, right? It's literally one of the easiest things you can possibly do. But it truly is a lost art. And, people are, sitting there literally fist fighting in a grocery store right now in southern BC because they've got no supplies, and it's absolutely tragic. So here's what else I would do, because this is real life tragedy. Pull all your money out of the bank. And that could be construed as a little bit tinfoil conspiracy theory kind of thing, but the reality is the banks only exist simply because we put our money in. They charge us service fees, and then charge us interest to lend, money that doesn't even belong to them, but to other people, right? So they're literally just there to facilitate the management of numbers, right? They're glorified accountants that just move numbers around that in many cases are intangible and don't even really exist. And the only person that actually benefits from it is the bank. And so how can you get on the top side of that? Well, I talked about being in an equity positive position. If you're going to borrow money, you're going to have to borrow. Like I said, don't go buy a new pickup and you're paying 5 to 10% interest on that pickup over the next 5 to 8 years. That's, and forgive me for this, but that's stupid. That really is, because you're just paying for the sake of paying at that point. And you're always going to be upside down. The fact that the vehicle that you buy depreciates the minute you drive it off the lot should be a warning already. But the fact that you're now paying interest for a price that your vehicle's not worth half of for the next 5 to 8 years is seriously concerning. So back to like acquiring land. If you're gonna try and acquire land and you're not paying for it cash, try and get something where it's going to be able to generate revenue for you, and generate revenue that exceeds any amount of interest that you're going to have to pay on any kind of mortgage payments, right? Be always trying to be upfront and be on the top side of it so that you're not actually just death by 1,000 cuts or death by 1,000 interest payments, essentially, right? That's not a good place to be in. Anyways, it's been, I don't know, 6-8 minutes, something like that. I'm thinking the battery charger is probably good to go here, so I better get this thing fired up and go get some straw bales out to the bulls so they have a nice cozy place to lay for tonight in the deep, deep snow we got. So I'll let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.